Hi everyone, it's Kenora Kallstrom, and I'm going to discuss my final project. The project that I chose to do was designing a book cover in our visual literacy unit. So one of the things I had to do was to analyze three book covers. So these three covers were the ones that I chose to analyze. I first looked at this book cover and jotted some things down about what I thought of it. So, this book cover has only three colors. Two are very light and airy, and the black is added to give a bold statement. The title is bolded and makes feelings about the black umbrellas come to mind. Some funerals, sadness, and the dreariness of the day when you need an umbrella. The black blotches that I'd infer are supposed to be the umbrellas look more like ink blots and give the feeling of wondering if you are interpreting the cover correctly. This cover gives a very bold feeling and makes me believe it would be sad and potentially a mysterious type story, almost like you're being analyzed, with those ink blotches that are the umbrellas. The second cover that I chose over here was another one that, kind of brought up a lot of feelings to me. So, this book cover gives the feeling of being lost in a maze. It only has two colors, both are blue shades on the cover, and give the feeling of calmness and relaxation, but yet the feeling of trying to complete a maze, and it clashes together. It makes me feel like the designer wants the reader to know that there are obstacles or tasks coming in this book, but to also feel calm or potentially numb as you have to experience them. The maze is also symmetrical and leads one to believe that technology created the maze and makes me wonder if there is more science fiction in the story than it leads on. And then the last book cover is down here. This book cover only has sharp lines that are not fully defined. The image makes me feel like there's a door next to a window. The word in the title, disturbed, gives a sense of uneasiness, not being safe, and an inquiry, just wanting me to know more. The black gives the impression that one is unsure about what lies beyond the door or window. The sharpness of the font also gives an uneasy feeling. I would infer that this is a mystery or horror story, and it's something all in all that just kind of makes me feel uneasy and icky on the inside. So, the next thing that I had to do for my final project were think about these questions. So, what other delivery methods other than text can be used to assess student understanding? So, in my language arts classroom, my students can create videos, flip books, just have conversations, large group and small group. I'm a big fan of like posters, either like on paper or digitally, having them present to the class and bring in items that make them, connect ideas with stories that we're reading or images that they look at, and talk about it that way. Are these methods more powerful, engaging? Yes, absolutely. I feel like it's good to not only read a book but also have kids use their other senses and have hands-on experiences so they can connect and transfer some of the information that they're learning to other areas of their lives, and it makes it more real. We want them to have more authentic experiences. So, what is the process of designing a book cover, and how can that be translated to the creative process in the classroom? So, there's lots of different mini lessons that can happen um, for students before they are creating a book cover on a specific topic or a task that I am asking them to. There's lots of great TED Talks and getting them, ready and kind of getting their mind going and thinking with those creative juices on what they could present. There's tons of design lessons that could be taught with color, line, spacing, font, all of those types of things. So it's more, kind of like a graphic design background that sixth graders would need. So they have a cover that's, not too much stuff. And those are lots of other mini lessons that we could have to discuss, why can't you use more than a couple of colors? Why shouldn't you use, more than a font or two? Why is it a bad idea that, your reader can't read the font that you want, even though it's a really cool one? So there's lots of different discussions and kind of trial and error things that you could have with your students when they are creating their book cover. So, my last step that I had to do was to create a book cover for a lesson that I'm teaching, or create a lesson in which students could create a book cover to show their learning. So, I created a book cover for sixth grade language arts in general. I use Canva, and this is what my book cover looks like. So I decided to do one that encountering the world of literacy. So I chose these colors for my poster because I want to give a sense of feeling important. I use the images below to show that not only do we do this on our computers and digitally, but we also use paper books. The globe is there to show that we experience literacy of all sorts of images, stories, via word of mouth, videos, or in books from all over the globe, and that we can connect to them. The kind of squiggle line represents how we get there, and how we touch on all different areas of literacy and connecting them to books that maybe were written a long time ago, and how they can connect to where we are today in our world, and maybe things that are showing up in the news, and how maybe stories written 40, 50 years ago, some of those thoughts and ideas are still presenting themselves in our current events today. So I wanted to make sure that students, when they saw this book cover, for when they walk into my classroom the first day of language arts, they could get a feeling of the importance, the at ease from the blue coloring that I chose to use, and the yellow, to understand that we will have books, but we will also use our computer. We will be looking, all around the world, and not just reading. Literacy in itself of images, movies, objects, and being able to discuss together and learn together, and grow as sixth grade readers. And it's so great to teach sixth grade, because when they first start and from when they end in sixth grade, to see their growth and their perspective change, and for them to create their own voice as they experience all of these thoughts and ideas through the events that are happening in our world, and from what they're experiencing from all genres of literacy, whether that be on paper, digitally, or images, or anything, is just so great and rewarding for me to see. So hopefully you have some of the same feelings that I do from this book cover, and thank you for listening.